The Texas sun beat down relentlessly, casting long shadows and creating a shimmering heat haze on the small, tight-knit town of Oak Haven, where everyone knew everyone else. It was a place where life moved at a slower pace, where the hustle and bustle of the city felt like a distant world. Children played freely in the streets, their laughter echoing through the neighborhood. Neighbors greeted each other with warm smiles and friendly waves, knowing each other's names and stories. But beneath the surface, a tension simmered, an undercurrent of unease that was hard to ignore. A new building had gone up on the edge of town, Al-Hikmah Mosque, a place of worship for the growing Muslim community. It stood as a symbol of change, and for some a source of fear and uncertainty about the future. Word spread through town about an open house at the mosque, an event meant to bridge gaps and foster understanding. It was an invitation for the community to come and learn about Islam, to see the mosque from the inside, and meet their new neighbors. But not everyone saw it that way. Suspicion and concern clouded the minds of many. For a small but vocal group, it was an opportunity to voice their anger and suspicion, to make their discontent known. They organized a protest for the day of the event, determined to make their voices heard. Their hearts were filled with distrust and a deep-seated fear of the unknown. They believed the mosque had no place in their town, that it represented a threat to their way of life. The day of the open house arrived, bringing with it a mix of anticipation and dread. A mix of emotions hung in the air, curiosity, apprehension, and outright hostility as people gathered at the mosque. The organizers of the protest had rallied their supporters, fueling their anger and determination. They arrived at the mosque, their faces grim, their signs held high. The message was clear and unyielding. They were not there to welcome their new neighbors. They were there to make a stand. They were there to make them feel unwelcome, to show that change was not always embraced in Oak Haven. The protesters gathered outside the mosque, their faces a mix of anger and determination. Their chants echoed through the quiet streets, a discordant symphony of anger and fear, shattering the usual calm of the neighborhood. They held signs with hateful slogans, words that cut through the air like knives. Their words were meant to intimidate, to instill fear in the hearts of those they opposed. Among them stood Sarah, a young woman with doubt clouding her eyes, her heart heavy with uncertainty. She had grown up in Oak Haven, a town where everyone looked and thought alike, a place where change was often met with resistance. The arrival of the mosque had unsettled her, challenging the familiar world she had always known. Inside the mosque, Imam Ahmad listened to the commotion outside, his heart heavy with the weight of the situation. He was a man of peace, with a heart full of kindness and a spirit unyielding in the face of adversity. He had come to Oak Haven seeking to build bridges of understanding to foster a sense of community and mutual respect. The protests saddened him deeply, but he refused to let it extinguish his spirit. He believed in the power of dialogue and compassion. He believed in the power of compassion to overcome hate, in the strength of kindness to bridge divides.
"Let us meet this anger with kindness," he urged his followers. "We will offer our neighbors water and dates, symbols of our goodwill and hospitality. We will show them that we are not so different, that we share the same hopes and dreams."
Some members of the mosque looked at him in disbelief, their faces a mix of confusion and skepticism. How could he respond to such hatred with such generosity, they wondered. But Imam Ahmad was unwavering. He believed that love, not anger, would be the key to healing the divide, that only through understanding could true peace be achieved. The mosque doors opened. Out walked Imam Ahmad, followed by a small group of men and women. They carried trays laden with cups of cold water and plates of sweet dates. The protesters were taken aback. They had expected anger, not hospitality. The chants faltered, replaced by a stunned silence. Some protesters turned their faces away, refusing to meet the eyes of the imam. Sarah watched in astonishment. She had expected the imam to be angry, to meet their hostility with equal force. But his demeanor was one of quiet dignity. He moved through the crowd, offering refreshments and a kind word to each protester.
"Peace be upon you."
His words, spoken in a language they didn't understand, somehow transcended the barrier of language. One by one, the protesters hesitantly accepted the offerings. The water was cool and refreshing in the Texas heat. The dates were sweet and flavorful. As they ate and drank, the tension began to dissipate. The hateful slogans on the signs seemed to lose their power. In that moment of shared humanity, the divide between them seemed a little less vast. Sarah found herself standing in front of Imam Ahmad. He looked at her with warmth in his eyes.
"Peace be upon you."
He offered her a date. Sarah hesitated for a moment, then took the date. She had never spoken to a Muslim before. She had so many questions, so many fears. But looking at the imam's kind face, she felt a flicker of curiosity.
Why? Why are you being so kind to us? We came here to protest you, to tell you that you're not welcome.
The imam listened patiently to her question. He understood the fear and anger that fueled her words. He had encountered it many times before.
My child, we believe in meeting hatred with love, ignorance with knowledge. We are all children of Adam, regardless of our faith or origin. We are here to build bridges, not walls.
His words struck a chord within Sarah. She had never thought of it that way before. She had been raised to believe that her way was the only way, but the imam's words planted a seed of doubt in her mind.
I found myself drawn to the mosque in the days that followed. It became a place of solace and reflection for me. I couldn't shake the imam's words. They lingered in my mind, echoing in my thoughts long after I had left the mosque. They resonated with something deep inside me, stirring emotions and thoughts I hadn't felt in a long time.
Sarah began to read about Islam, eager to learn about its teachings. She spent hours poring over books and articles, seeking to understand the faith more deeply. She discovered that much of what she had been taught about Islam was based on fear and misconception. The more she learned, the more she realized how much misinformation she had been exposed to.
I learned about the beauty of Islamic art and the poetry of Rumi. Their elegance and depth spoke to me in ways I hadn't anticipated. I started attending the mosque's open study sessions. These gatherings were filled with people from all walks of life, united by a common desire to learn and grow.
Sarah listened intently as the imam spoke about the importance of peace, compassion, and understanding. His words were a balm to her soul, offering a perspective she had never considered before. She learned about the 5 pillars of Islam: faith, prayer, charity, fasting, and pilgrimage. Each pillar represented a core aspect of the faith, emphasizing a balanced and purposeful life.
I realized that these principles were not so different from the values I held dear. They emphasized kindness, generosity, and a sense of community. I began to understand that Islam was not a threat to my way of life. Instead, it offered a different perspective that enriched my understanding of the world.
The imam welcomed her questions, no matter how basic or challenging. He encouraged open dialogue and was always ready to provide thoughtful answers. He answered them with patience and wisdom, never making her feel ignorant or unwelcome.
It is important to have dialogue and understanding. Through conversation, we can bridge gaps and build connections. We can disagree with respect and find common ground despite our differences. This mutual respect is the foundation of a harmonious society.
Sarah's fear began to melt away, replaced by a newfound respect for Islam and its followers. She felt a sense of peace and belonging she hadn't known before. Chris, a young man with a troubled past, stood at the edge of the crowd that day. He had joined the protest looking for trouble. Life had been hard on Chris. He had grown up in poverty, surrounded by violence. He had found solace in a local gang, but the gang life had only led to more pain and suffering. He had spent time in juvenile detention.
I watched as Imam Ahmad moved through the crowd, his face etched with kindness. I had never seen anyone like him before. Most people looked at me with judgment and fear, but the Imam looked at me with compassion. It made me uncomfortable.
Chris's life had been spiraling out of control. He felt lost. He longed for something more, something better. He saw the peace in the Imam's eyes. He felt a glimmer of hope. Could this be the change he had been searching for? Chris found himself drawn back to the mosque. He began attending the Friday prayers, drawn by the sense of community and belonging he found there. The Imam's sermons resonated with him. The Imam spoke about forgiveness, about redemption, about the importance of turning away from darkness and seeking the light.
I began to volunteer at the mosque, helping with odd jobs and maintenance. I found solace in the rhythm of prayer and the company of my fellow worshippers. I started to distance myself from the gang, seeking solace in the mosque's peaceful embrace.
The Imam saw the potential in Chris, the goodness buried beneath layers of anger and pain. He mentored Chris, guiding him towards a path of peace and righteousness. He taught him about the importance of using his strength for good, of protecting the weak and standing up for what is right. As the weeks turned into months, a remarkable transformation took place in Oak Haven. The mosque, once a symbol of division, became a beacon of unity.
My heart was touched by the Imam's kindness. I became a vocal advocate for understanding and tolerance. I shared my newfound knowledge of Islam with my family and friends, breaking down stereotypes and building bridges of communication.
Inspired by the Imam's guidance, I turned my life around. I left the gang and dedicated myself to helping other troubled youth. I became a living testament to the transformative power of compassion and forgiveness.
The people of Oakhaven began to see the mosque and its members in a new light. They attended interfaith dialogues, sharing meals and stories. They celebrated their common humanity, recognizing that their differences were a source of strength, not division. The story of Al-Hikmah Mosque is a testament to the power of kindness to overcome hate. It is a story about the importance of reaching out to the other, of choosing empathy over fear, of building bridges instead of walls. It is a story that reminds us that even in the darkest of times, hope can blossom in the most unexpected of places. The once divided town of Oakhaven became a tapestry of unity, its threads woven together by compassion, understanding, and a shared belief in the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity. The story of Al-Hikmah Mosque is a beacon of hope, reminding us that even in a world often marred by division, the power of human connection can.
The residents of Maplewood prided themselves on their unity. They lived together, worked together, and celebrated their diversity. However, this harmony was shattered one cold November morning. The community woke to the news of a shocking incident. The Al-Hikmah Mosque, a place of worship and a symbol of their inclusivity, had been vandalized. The air was thick with tension. Fear and anger gripped the Muslim community. Some residents were shocked and outraged, while others felt a sense of vindication for their long-held prejudices. The incident threatened to divide Maplewood, turning neighbour against neighbour. The vandalism sparked a wave of protests. People from both sides, fueled by their pain and anger, clashed in the streets. The situation seemed hopeless, threatening to tear apart the fabric of their once peaceful community. Fear and suspicion poisoned the hearts of many. The future of Maplewood seemed uncertain, shrouded in a cloud of anger and resentment. Amid the chaos, a group of Maplewood residents refused to give in to despair. They believed in the power of unity and understanding, even in the face of hatred. They organized a community meeting, inviting residents from all backgrounds to participate. The meeting began with raw emotions. Anger, fear, and pain filled the room. Yet as people shared their stories and listened to one another, a glimmer of hope emerged. They realized that their shared pain could be a catalyst for healing and growth.
I had carried anger toward the Muslim community for years, fueled by my family's prejudices. But hearing the fear and pain in their voices, I felt a shift within myself.
The meeting marked a turning point. Instead of succumbing to division, the residents of Maplewood chose resilience. They chose dialogue over silence, empathy over judgment. It was a small step, but it marked the beginning of a long and arduous journey toward healing. Sarah's journey was not an easy one. She'd grown up surrounded by prejudice, her family often voicing negative stereotypes about Muslims. The mosque vandalism solidified these beliefs, fueling her anger. Yet, the community meeting stirred something deep within her.
I began questioning my deeply ingrained biases. I started reading about Islam and engaging in conversations with Muslim classmates and colleagues. To my surprise, I discovered a faith rooted in peace, compassion, and justice.
Sarah's interactions with the Muslim community challenged her preconceived notions. She saw their fear, their pain, and their resilience. She realized that they were not so different from her, sharing the same hopes, dreams, and aspirations. This realization was a turning point for Sarah.
It dawned on me that prejudice thrives on ignorance. I vowed to replace my anger with understanding, my judgment with empathy.
Sarah's transformation was a testament to the power of open dialogue and genuine human connection. Sarah's transformation did not go unnoticed. She started sharing her story, first with her family and friends, then at community gatherings. Her courage to confront her own biases resonated with others. Her vulnerability became a bridge connecting people across divides.
Many who had harbored similar prejudices found themselves reflecting on their own beliefs. My story became a catalyst for others to confront their biases and seek understanding.
Her journey became a beacon of hope, demonstrating that transformation is possible, even in the face of deeply ingrained prejudice. Inspired by Sarah's courage, Chris, a young man caught in the cycle of gang violence, also experienced a profound change of heart.
I had participated in the mosque vandalism, fueled by anger, and a sense of belonging. But witnessing Sarah's transformation and the community's resilience, I started questioning my actions.
The community's response to hatred with kindness and dialogue planted a seed of change within Chris. He realized that true strength lay not in violence and division, but in unity and understanding.
Sarah's journey became a powerful example of the transformative power of empathy and forgiveness.
Together, Sarah and Chris's stories showed that even the deepest divides can be bridged through empathy, dialogue, and a willingness to change. Section 5, Faith in Action.
Both Chris and I found strength and guidance in our respective faiths. You know, I was raised in a Christian household and, well, I rediscovered the teachings of love, compassion, and forgiveness.
She realized that her faith called her to fight against injustice and stand up for the marginalized.
For me, I found solace in the Quran's message of peace and justice. I was really drawn to the Islamic emphasis on community and social responsibility.
Chris began attending Friday prayers at the Al-Hikmah Mosque, finding peace and a sense of belonging he had never experienced before.
Our faiths, which once seemed like sources of division, became powerful forces for unity.
Yet we realized that our beliefs shared a common core: love, compassion, and service to humanity.
This realization became the foundation of their activism and their commitment to healing their community.
Our stories resonated throughout Maplewood. We showed that faith, when grounded in love and compassion, could bridge divides and heal wounds.
Our actions spoke louder than words, inspiring others to look beyond their differences and embrace their shared humanity.
Section 6, Chris's transformation, breaking free.
My decision to leave the gang was honestly not easy. I faced ridicule, threats, and even violence from my former friends. But I was determined, to break free from the cycle of hatred and violence that had defined my life.
He found support in unexpected places. The Muslim community welcomed him with open arms, offering him guidance and support.
They saw my sincere desire for change and embraced me as one of their own.
Chris's transformation was a testament to the power of forgiveness and redemption. He dedicated his life to mentoring other at-risk youth, guiding them away from the path he had once walked.
My story became a beacon of hope, proving that change is possible, even for those who seem lost. I shared my story at schools, community centers, and even juvenile detention centers.
Chris's honesty and vulnerability resonated with young people who saw themselves in his struggles.
My message was simple: hate only breeds more hate. Choose love, choose understanding, choose peace.
Section 7, Healing Begins at Home.
While Chris focused on helping other young people escape the cycle of violence, I embarked on a more personal mission to confront the prejudice within my own family. I knew that true healing started at home, with honest conversations and open hearts.
It was not an easy task. She faced resistance, denial, and even anger.
But I persevered, armed with patience, love, and a deep belief in my family's capacity for change. I shared my journey of discovery, my newfound understanding of Islam, and the stories of the Muslim community.
Slowly, cracks began to appear in the wall of prejudice that had divided them for so long.
My parents, though initially hesitant, started listening. They asked questions, seeking to understand rather than to judge.
Sarah's unwavering love and patience chipped away at their preconceived notions. Her family's transformation, although gradual, was a testament to the power of persistent dialogue and the courage to challenge deeply held beliefs. Section 8, Steve's Silent Awakening.
Among those touched by Sarah's story was her uncle, me, a quiet man with deeply ingrained prejudices. I had always kept my distance from the Muslim community, harboring suspicion and mistrust.
However, Sarah's transformation, her courage to confront her own family, and her unwavering belief in their capacity for change planted a seed of doubt within him.
I began to observe the Muslim community with fresh eyes. I saw their kindness, their generosity, and their deep commitment to their faith. I witnessed their resilience in the face of adversity and their unwavering belief in unity and understanding.
Steve's transformation was slow and silent, a gradual awakening of his heart.
I started attending community events, listening to the stories of my Muslim neighbors and sharing meals with them. I discovered a shared humanity that transcended our differences.
While he never openly admitted his change of heart, his actions spoke volumes.
I treated my Muslim neighbors with respect and kindness, my suspicion replaced with a newfound understanding.
Steve's silent transformation served as a powerful reminder that change is possible, even in the most unexpected places. Section 9, Al-Hikmah, a beacon of unity. Years later, the Al-Hikmah Mosque stood tall, its walls rebuilt, its spirit unbroken. The vandalism, a symbol of hatred and division, had inadvertently become a catalyst for unity and understanding. The residents of Maplewood, once divided by fear and prejudice, had woven a new tapestry of their community, one thread of kindness, dialogue and empathy at a time. The mosque, once a target of hate, became a beacon of unity. Interfaith dialogues, community dinners and educational workshops filled its halls. It was a place where differences were celebrated and common ground was discovered. The story of Maplewood became a testament to the power of resilience and the transformative potential of human connection. It reminded the world that even in the darkest of times, hope